This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and this is episode 14. My guest today is Ja. We met, I think, via Strava, which is an app for athletes into cycling, running, skating, canoeing. That's the app that everyone goes to keep track of their miles, their activities. And you can add friends. And from there, friends can give you like kudos and can leave you messages. Anyway, we met on there. Then we became Facebook friends. And after that, we've communicated. And he's like, hey, we need to ride together. I think we were friends for a couple years before we actually rode together. And then one day he was like, hey, you want to ride? I was like, all right, cool. So he came into the city and we rode around. That was so much fun because I had never, and I told you this, I had never, up until that point, I had never been in the streets like that on my bike. Like he moved like a ninja. Like it was so swift. It was so cool. Like of course we were safe, but it was just like, oh my gosh, the way man. Anyway, I wish I had a GoPro video of that. But yeah. And I asked him if he would want to be a guest on my podcast, and he said, sure. And here we are. So thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
it's a pleasure.
Thanks again. So we'll jump right into it. What sparked your cycling journey?
Well, pretty it's something, it's pretty interesting. I actually I've always, I can't say I've always ridden. I used to ride, years ago just for fun, and I hadn't got on the bike before I started 2015. I hadn't been on the bike in about 25 years. And I started back again because I was looking for a method of recovery because I had colon cancer surgery. And afterwards, I survived it and everything, but it took 8 months just to get past the first stages of just, them cutting into me and just my insides and everything getting back together with my insides. But afterwards, I was underweight, from at the time I was 167. I was underweight as much as low as one like 148 or something between 148 and, which was drastically low. And I was out of breath after walking 3 blocks. I decided to use a hiking pole to just get around with, and it was difficult. So I just wanted more. I wanted to get stronger, stronger like how I was before colon cancer. I was, in my heyday, I was doing choreography. I was really active, never really athletic in a sense. I was, I guess I was, because I was a dancer, one of those, dancers you see jumping all around the place in the 90s. And that took a bit of athleticism because I was doing many acrobatic things. But, as I said, once colon cancer, stage 3 colon cancer got a hold of me, and I was healing. I was just weak. So I Googled, I asked Google, hey, what's the best way to get myself back in shape, after colon cancer surgery? What could I do? And swimming came up and cycling. Cycling actually came up first. So I was like, okay, I don't have a pool. So I'm gonna have to travel to some pool and everything, which is like gonna take a lot out of me. Cycling seems something I could get into. So after a couple of weeks, I just, I didn't jump right on it or anything, but I was walking past one day and I saw a little one speed folding bike on
Mm-hmm.
chained to a pole, and it just it it spoke to me. It wasn't like anything new. It was a 1983 uh something or other, heavy as I don't know what. And it was but it said this bike could be yours right now. It was about 10 o'clock at night,
Mm-hmm.
and and it said it could be yours right now. Give me a call. Call me now. So I did, and a gentleman answered, and I said, yeah, I'm interested. I'm here, and I'm looking at this bike, and he called the number, said this bike could be mine now. So I was just inquiring about, how much would you charge me for it? So he said $85. So I said, okay. So he's like, you know what? Hey, you know what? Maybe 85 is a little steep. The brakes don't work. So, you're gonna have to get that fixed. So give me $70. So I was like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Great. I was happy. I was, it was a good feeling. I was
Mm-hmm.
finally not moseying along and just trying to, and out of breath. I was out of breath riding, but it was way
Yeah.
different than walking anywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
that was just like relief. So I started riding, and it hurt like hell because as I said earlier, I hadn't been on a bike in 25 years. So this is working a whole bunch of different muscles, and it actually felt like cuts, like someone took a razor and cut me across my ass,
Mm-hmm.
and it just felt like what I checked for blood. Actually checked to see if did I cut myself somehow on my ass? Like what the hell is going on? But and it was just I get it was just my body just getting uh reacclimated to something I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't done in years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it all the time. I did it just everywhere I went. I just didn't want to use that cane anymore. So if I went to the corner store, the corner store is less than a less than a quarter of a block up, from my house. If I went
Mm-hmm.
to the corner store, just a hop, skip, and a jump away, I would get on my bike anywhere. And so I started to venture out further. Just 3 miles was like whew for me. So just
Mm-hmm.
from my house 3 miles away, I used to just go and get a cup of coffee, drink it, and come back home. And as the time went on, hey, I added a crate to it, and a cooler, and I was carrying around sandwiches and goodies and just cruising along and having a splendid old time, old man style, but just, and just really taking in the sights and just really
Yeah.
seeing like, wow, just, enjoying things that I haven't seen. I've been driving for years and taxis and Ubers and whatever, so
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, this is a change. Wow, let me go over here now. Let me go over there. So I got really strong doing it to where as if 5 miles was nothing now. That was my
Mm-hmm.
commute to the train station, so 5
Mm-hmm.
miles there, 5 miles back, and then wherever I had to go once I got off the train. Excuse me, the airplanes are flying low today, always. But yeah, I yeah, that was my commute once I got off the train, and I went wherever I had to go and came back. So then I was like, wow, hey, I think I'm ready for another bike and something safer because I'm tired of stopping like the Flintstones, because this bike had no brakes, and I was flying down hills and fearless, always fearless, no
Mhm.
matter the one speed down to the bike I'm on now to the one speed folding bike, never
Mhm.
always fearless,
Yeah.
so I was like, wow, this has brakes. Wow, it's actually 6 speed. So, ooh, yeah. Oh, I'm rocking now. So I was really all over the place. I was on that folding bike the new folding bike that I had. I was going from Jersey City over the path to as far as South Brooklyn, up to Queens at this bakery called Martha's Bakery or something,
Mm.
something or other. I used to go to up in Queens and come back, go to Astoria, come back over the 59th Street Bridge. I was all over on this folding bike. You know, it so now it's more than just cruising around. I was actually cycling
Mhm.
on a folding bike, which I didn't consider it cycling then,
Yeah.
but it definitely was cycling when you're doing over 20 miles, 20, 30 miles a day,
Mhm.
so that was like, wow, and so now I was looking to go faster because everyone was passing me on my folding bike. you know Everyone was passing me, so I was just like, oh my god, I know I'm faster than this old lady, and I know I'm faster than this older gentleman right here, man. Like, man, look at this kid is keeping up with me. And I mean, look at this guy. He looks like he's about my size. I know I gotta be as fast as him or maybe faster. Hey, I need another bike. So I bought another bike. And this time was a bigger bike, bigger wheels. I think it was like 9 speeds or something like that, or maybe seven or so. But it was definitely a bigger bike, and it was bigger wheels. So now I'm really, in the zone, and this cruiser I had a coffee holder and everything, and it was just really a fancy old cruising bike, something I'd probably get someone just starting off, something I'll probably buy my son because I know he's not into
Mhm.
road cycling. So it's like a, nice starter bike just to get around the city. But me, now I'm feeling myself and I'm really feeling the cycling thing and I'm really getting into the groove. I'm transforming my commuter bike with putting racing wheels on it and uh different handlebars. I got the seat post heightened, everything. I tweaked this bike out so it couldn't be tweaked anymore. And
Mhm.
so now, someone said, "Hey, you should go on Strava. Wow, you ride a lot and everything. Hey, so I so I, I checked it out and I got on Strava and I was like, wow, they have all these awards and this and that. So that was inspiring. I
Mhm.
was like, wow, I'm actually not riding for anything. I mean, I can get on this thing and and compete with others, compete with myself and everything.
Mhm.
So it began to be fun. So people started noticing, wow, you're pretty fast on that bike. So the running joke, amongst the bike store that I frequent was, wow, you're like Mario Andretti on driving a hoopty. Like you like, wow, you are a fantastic cyclist and you need another bike. You need a better bike. So they would always tease me and go on my bike and everything because I was wearing through $15 chains and $30
Mm.
cassettes like every 2 weeks. Like every two
Mm.
weeks I was coming to get a new cassette. So they was like, no one does this. Like, you need a road bike. I'm gonna force you to get a road bike. You need to put those skills on a road bike. So I was like, I did it. I'll do it. So lo and behold, my bike shop, they called me. They called me up one day, like with the you're in trouble kind of voice. So I'm like, oh Jesus, what did I do and everything? And they had me nervous. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't work for these guys. They nobody's my boss. Like, wait, I wonder what they want. Like I wonder what they want. They wanted me to come down to the shop and they wanted to speak to me about something. So I'm like, okay. So I cautiously went down to my bike shop, and so they was like, yeah, we wanted to we wanted to have you um you know j- um run our bike club,
Mm.
our bike club, and host our Sunday morning rides, and we want to sponsor you. So I was like shocked. I was shocked. So they was like, yeah, we want to sponsor you and everything. So I was just thinking, okay, but to myself, I was like, on this bike, like, okay, like, because I'm not getting another bike or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, like that. Hey, man, like, wow, that's such a compliment. Like, that's great. Like, man, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. So then they said, well, and in order to host our Sunday rides and to compete, you need the right bike to do it. So we want to give you the 2017 TCR Magliarosa. And I was like, okay, you want to give it to me, but I know that you're not going to give it to me because nobody does that. And yeah, so that's a good gesture. Yeah, you might want to do it. I know you don't, but yeah, so they was like, no, it's yours. Nobody's going to buy this bike. we and you're the only one that has ever touched it. You're the only one that admires it and really looks at it, and you ride it around the store. You're really at home on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's your color. It's pink. This is a representation of the fight for cancer. We know that colon
Mm.
cancer is blue and breast cancer is pink, but just the symbolism of it all.
Yeah.
Just the
Mm-hmm.
like we want you to have this bike. You're our friend. We love you. We care for you, and we want, and this is how we show it. So
Mm-hmm.
I was I was blown away. I still couldn't believe it. And I was like, so, okay, so I can borrow it on Sundays during the rides or when we go out, but I got to give it back. And so it's like, no, this is your bike. When we're done talking, we're going to put the pedals on it. We're going to give you some shoes, and then you can just go wherever you want after that. You can take it home and it's yours.
Mm.
I was blown away. If I wasn't the type of man that I am, I probably would have bawled crying,
Mm-hmm.
and here I am, cycling, how many, three, 4 years, 4 years after the fact,
Mm.
and it was the greatest thing. It's one of the greatest things that happened to me in my life to date is to be cycling. It's a words can't describe the
Mm-hmm.
feeling. So that's that's what that's what prompted me to start cycling.
Wow, that is an amazing story. Very inspiring. I too started out on a folding bike, so I know exactly what you're talking about. when
Yeah,
when you're riding and everyone is passing you, and I'm like,
everybody. Oh my God.
little kids, elderly people. I'm like, all right, now what's going on here?
Yeah,
Like,
the wheelie kids are they're wheeling past me. I'm like, this is insane, you know.
Oh my gosh. But shout out to the folding bikes and everyone who rides folding bikes, because that's where I started. That's where we started. So
Right.
that that jump started the journey, that you're on. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that's amazing. And shout out to your bike shop, because that is also amazing that they thought enough of you to give you this bike.
Yeah, they are pretty amazing. I mean, not only did they give me the bike, but for that first summer of 2018, when they gave me that bike, it was. I mean, first of all, let me just say that I never got the opportunity to race,
Mm-hmm.
but they sponsored me just street cycling, just riding around. Like I've had they've replaced my derailleur. I've gotten they placed my Dura Ace derailleur. I've had numerous cassettes and chains and changed my wires and all types of maintenance, on
Mm-hmm.
my bike, tires, and for that first year I didn't pay a thing. It
Mm-hmm.
was just I walked in, hey, I had this problem. They took me over anyone. It was like a pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually like an Indy car, or a race car on the track. Going around the track, and you stop when you need to. When things start to wear out, your tires, your this, your that, and your pit crew jumps in there, and yeah, they were like my pit crew,
Mm-hmm.
and even till this day, I mean the service and the friendship is genuine,
Yeah.
and we're friends first,
Yeah.
before anything, and I've met tons of awesome, awesome, awesome people, cycling, just a whole new host of people. In my heyday, I mentioned I used to, do dance and choreography,
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and just coming up in the '90s, when you live in that they call it the golden era. That was the golden era of '90s music. When in that time, it was like, if you were all the hit people danced, all the
Mm-hmm.
gangsters, all the cool dudes, everybody danced, if
Mm-hmm.
and I knew all five boroughs, all from Philly, from Jersey to Philly to Chicago to Connecticut, California, Florida, just tons of people. And when I started cycling, it just added already to the tons of people that I knew, and even discovered a few people that also picked up cycling, as well. So it is
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing negative that came from cycling.
Yeah.
100%. Everything that has happened to me, you know, it was a positive experience. Even if it was uh, some at a time when I was injured, when I was badly injured, as a result of being injured, you know, I as a result of being injured, I got something positive out of it, and I just wouldn't change a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't change a thing. Cancer, going through stage 3 colon cancer, that you have 6 to 8 months to live,
Mm.
1 year, because you're in such because you're in such great shape and your diet is excellent. Um, but like just to come from that, and it is a great thing. I gotta say, I mean, as crazy as it may sound, I owe it to cancer.
Mhm.
If I didn't if I didn't have colon cancer, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I am now. So through tragedy comes just a great number of great experiences,
Mhm.
I must say.
Yeah, that is truly a blessing. And it's it's so interesting how people discover something that changes their lives. You know, um, it was cancer for you.
Hmm.
It may have been um, fitness for another person. It may have
Right.
been, just pure curiosity of I'm bored, let me try this. And now, you've been on this journey that has brought you so much joy. And it's just really interesting to see how people find these activities, this way of life, because it is a part of your life. Like you and cycling are like joined at the hip. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's so interesting, like I said, to me, to talk to people and just see, like, why'd you get into this, how'd you get into this, and and then the different levels that you've taken it to. Like, you just got into it, like, you're looking for basically something to get you back active. All right, let me just, you used to cycle, but let me just get back on the bike and, explore. Let me ride. And you, with your folding bike, shout out to the folding bike again, you went to you're traveling to different boroughs. Some people don't travel to different boroughs
Right.
in their car. You out here on a folding bike traveling to different boroughs.
Right.
So,
A one-speed folder bike.
sheesh. Listen, at least I had 8 speed, so I'm
Wow.
at least I had
Lucky
an eight
you.
speed. But
Lucky
yeah,
you.
nah, that is a blessing. Let me ask you a question. Do you have any, like, cycling goals
Uh,
that you want to accomplish now or in the near future?
well, I do have a sort of I guess a bucket list. I would like to compete.
Mm-hmm.
That's on my bucket list. So even I mean at any level, just to get in a ride, or get in a race that is with with other people, to test my might, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, to see what I had, just to be able to say that, hey, I was there, I did that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's on my bucket list to do that. Also, to do a long ride. I said that I would, at some point or other, I want to ride from Jersey to Albany in a day.
Mm. Well,
So that is my yeah that's my goal. I wanna ride from Jersey to Albany in a day, and I want to and I don't want to go an easy route.
mm-hmm.
I want to travel straight up 9W, because the straight path is the fastest path. I don't want to take the fastest path, which is be the toughest path with the steepest, longest climbs. Um, I haven't I haven't heard of anyone doing it, but I want to do it. And also, there's another ride that goes from the World Trade Center to Niagara Falls, and
Mm,
it's like a 5 day. It's like a 5 day. It's a big 5 day ride. It's actually um, it's actually to raise money for cancer research, and
mm-hmm.
and I think it's called a. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's called the Empire Ride or
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
right. Yeah, have you heard? Yeah, I think it's called the
Yeah.
Empire Ride, and it's pretty expensive, but they give you they give you a whole they give you tents to sleep in, endless food.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
really they really take care of you. You raise the money, and then raising the money pays for you don't pay for it. You raise the money. You get donations from people, and and you and that's how you go.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You build donations. It's a few thousand, like maybe $2,000 or $3,000 that you have to raise, and once you raise that amount, then your spot is free, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my. I'm actually thinking about doing it for next year. I actually wanted to do it. Um, 2020, but then with everything with the
Yeah.
pandemic and everything, and we're still here with the pandemic, and we're
Mm-hmm.
not too far away from 2022. So hopefully they'll have it'll be under control by the time it starts next year. So
Yeah.
if so, I'm going to inquire about just getting a ball rolling on that this year so that my spot will be reserved for it's I think it's every September, no, July. I think it's every July. Yeah,
Okay.
it's every July. So yeah, those are my two things. And just to but I don't have any anything other than that. I'm just really enjoying cycling. My goal is to cycle till I die.
Mm,
Cycle until I can't. My
mm-hmm.
goal is to maintain, this lifestyle. At all costs. Some people they gotta have this or that. They gotta be able to do this thing or every day and or every so often. This is how I feel about cycling. I don't right now. I feel some people have dogs, some people have cats. I have 5 bikes. So these are my pets. And like, and this is what I do. So I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine you know, doing something else to replace cycling. Like
Yeah.
highly addictive. I'm a true. Uh, my son says, "Dad, you're a cycling addict," and I just started hashtagging that. So I am a true cycling addict. You know.
Listen, you will I believe you will accomplish those goals. Let me know. I will donate um to the ride from the World Trade to Niagara Falls. So just let me know when you get the information. You definitely can do the Jersey to Albany. That's like in a day. You could do that in. I just
Yeah.
googled it. It's like under 14 hours, and I know you
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
you got
I
that.
really think it's doable. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think that I'm going to be alone
Mhm.
on this ride. I don't think that anyone is going to join me. I can't get, I really can't get any brave souls to join me on a 30-mile ride. So Albany is a stretch for anyone. So I think that I'm probably gonna be doing this solo. So I'm gonna one day I'm gonna take the car and just drive the route. I'm gonna map
Mhm.
my route and I'm going to get it done. I don't I'm pretty hard on myself, so I don't really feel like I have the conditioning to 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 do a 14-hour ride.
Mhm.
Because when I ride, like I don't, I really want to stop at a minimum because I want to get back before nightfall. So
Yeah.
I'd probably be leaving out when the sun is not even in the sky
Yeah.
yet. I'd probably leave out like 4 a.m.
Mhm.
Just to get a jump, on everything. So but as far as the conditioning, like we're all hard on we're hard on ourselves than anyone could ever be. No one's harder on you than
Yeah.
yourself. So
Yeah.
I probably have the conditioning, but um I don't feel as confident. So I'm going to really train really hard through the winter months so that when the summer comes, I'll be ready to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, because I have the spirit and I have the fortitude to do it. You know, and the endurance, but I have the will.
Mhm.
But I just did an 80-mile ride Sunday, and I wasn't broken up. I mean, every weekend I do 60 to 80 miles and everything, but as opposed to uh last year and especially the year before when I was doing uh 30 miles 30 miles a day, uh 30 miles a day, 200 miles a week, and 1,000 miles a month. I need to get my conditioning up back to doing 1,000 miles a month. So
Mhm.
once the winter time comes, and I just begin my training regimen for the winter time, I'm probably going to be putting in numbers, like that, doing 1,000 miles a month.
Mm.
You know, because they say, you need to, in order to be able to, ride, and to not be labored
Mhm.
and cramping up, you need to really compete. You really need to put in, um, you need to put in the time,
Yeah. Right.
and that time you don't have to blaze the streets every day, but you have to get on your bike and spin the wheel.
Mhm.
You know, you have to spin the wheel for miles a day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Well, like I said, I know you will accomplish both of those goals you said, and even the goal of competing. So just let me know. I'll be out there. I'll make a little sign. Listen, you can do it. I'm, I'm, I'm asking people their goals, and they're like, "Hey, I want to compete. I want to do this. I want to do that." Let me know so I can cheer you on. I'll be out there. I'm not gonna
Absolutely.
compete, but I'll be out there cheering you on.
Hey, you never know. You might, never say never. You
You're
might get
right.
the bug, and between now and next year, you might. feel like you know, Jackie Joyner on a bike, like,
You're right. You're right. You never
and like,
know.
I'm
You never
ready.
know.
You
You
might
are.
be ready to run people down by next year, So, hey,
You
you might be
right.
right. Come on, Ja. Come on, you slow. Come on, Ja. Catch up. Keep up. You know.
You never know. You never know. You're right.
You
Uh,
never know.
I just got a couple more questions for you. You talked about training, and I think I don't know if I asked you this before, but in the winter. So, do you have an indoor trainer, or do you just strictly ride outside in the winter?
Well, yeah, I'm an outdoors person, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have the patience to just, I get bored.
Mm-hmm.
I get bored quickly. So I don't have that patience to be in one spot and just riding. But I have, but I know that I'm, for those days when I'm not going to be riding outside, because I do ride outside for the most part, you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, I ride outside. And for those days that I'm not going to be riding outside, my plan is I'm not a trainer, what is it, like a stationary bike
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or anything like that, because whereas if you gain, you do gain power, I just don't believe, but you lose balance when you get
Mm-hmm.
out. And this is just me. This is just my opinion about like what um my just through observation,
Mm-hmm.
seeing others. And I believe that the trainer, that the stationary, setting your bike up as a stationary bike, I just think that it makes you clumsy, because you do have all this power, but you have no balance. You don't have to work at keeping your balance. So I'm not really a fan of the like the Zwift trainers or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely gonna have a roller and just put my miles in on a roller, because I don't have to have a ride simulation to whereas I'm outside, like before cyclists, before we had the internet, before there was a Swift, people just, and before they had stationary, before they had it to where you can hook your bike up to and have it stationary, they had rollers.
Mm-hmm.
They had rollers. People use rollers. So I'm just gonna go and take it back there and get on my roller, because I believe that is, balance is power.
Mm.
So if I can, so if I'm doing an hour or two on a roller, cycling, I got that's an hour or two that I have to concentrate on holding my balance. And I believe that is a better cycling simulation, as opposed to, the Zwift, the stationary bikes, because because the biggest thing that you have, the most important thing in riding a roller, is the same as, cycling on the streets, and that
Mm.
is, you have to focus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to focus. Even though you're in one spot, if you the minute the minute you lose sight, and you're not focused on what you're doing, you're gonna tip over.
Yeah.
But when you're on that trainer, you could do it with your eyes closed, with no hands and one foot, and you will still be on the bike. You don't have to worry about injuring yourself. So I think I think that then when there's no sense of, this, you don't have to worry about when you don't have to worry about things of that nature, then I believe that that's where, the clumsiness and the clumsiness comes in, on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'll be on a roller, definitely. Definitely, I'll be on a roller. I mean, but hey, taking nothing away from,
Mm-hmm.
people that, enjoy Zwift. I think that Zwift and, and that stationary riding, I think that is excellent, because it builds your power.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I think it's great. When it's all said and done, I think that I'm gonna end up having both the stationary apparatus and the roller.
Yeah.
So I'll be so in the on the one thing I'll be practicing. I'll be practicing my balance, and and on the trainer I'll just be building my power. So at the end of the you know I'm going to have it all, but I'm definitely more intrigued by the roller.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel you. I mean, well, I have a trainer. I haven't. I've never tried the roller,
I,
but
yeah.
I do like how over the pandemic, that was something that when we couldn't go outside, right? During
Right.
quarantine, when they really didn't want you outside, this trainer helped me a lot because now I'm able to ride and I'm able to ride with people from all over the world and communicate with them. And, I still had that cycling community, even though we were
Right.
going through something, and I couldn't leave the house. This was like the saving grace. So, but I definitely understand what you're talking about because, I found myself at points just doing stuff on the trainer on my bike that I know I wouldn't be doing if I was outside. Like,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
I understand what you're talking
Drinking coffee, watching TV,
about.
eating a sandwich. you know, it's
Right.
great, but it's just like I can, my, that's another thing. My couch is right there.
Yeah,
So it's just
yeah,
like, yeah, it's like I gotta block out distractions once I start riding in the house. I mean, but whether I'm on a trainer or not, I'm just a outdoors
yeah,
person.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I will be on a trainer. I will be on a train, some sort of roller or something, over the winter. But I'm gonna be outside.
Yeah.
I will definitely be outside, and they're gentrifying all over the place now. So they built a huge complex over here. I call it the Death Star. It's huge. It
Mm-hmm.
takes up 4 acres of land over here.
Ooh.
It's yeah, it's huge. So, but within this complex, there's streets within the complex.
Mm.
So it's an area where I can do laps and where there's no traffic. So, and that's a few blocks away from me. So now I'm thinking, if by some chance I don't get a roller this year, this big luxury condominium complex is uh is 2 blocks away from here. So,
Yeah.
and the coldest of weathers, I could get out here and do, and do 10 miles in the morning or 15 miles in the morning, when it's like 20 20 degrees outside and your fingers are freezing
Mm.
just as soon as you get out the door. you know um I can at least just ride, start to get cold. After 15, after between 10 and 15 miles, I start to get cold. So what I was doing when I was riding year round, uh 2018, what I would do the quickest of the quickest 15-mile ride outside, because that was my max.
Yeah.
Anything more than that, you're really at 20 degrees, 15, or
Mhm.
anything below 30, 30, anything below 32 is just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like a wow, this is ridiculous. I wish someone was here type of cold. So what I plan to do on like that, is do 15 miles, 10 to 15 miles in the morning, and then do another 10 to 15 miles at night. I'll have at least, so that'll give me 30 miles. They'll give me 20 to 30 miles
Mhm.
every day, uh, during the winter. Because I definitely, you know, um, this is a lot. Summer. I've gotten a lot of gains.
Mhm.
From cycling this year, and I don't feel like I'm as fast as I was in 2018.
Mhm.
I feel like every year I actually get slower.
Mm.
I have less activity. Like 2018, I put in nine nine 900 I'm sorry, 9,800 miles for the year in 2018, and then 2019 I did 7,000 miles,
Mm.
and then during the 2020, I did less.
Yeah.
So and this year I know that I've done way less than those years. So there's a decline.
Mhm.
So without even hardcore without even hardcore testing myself, I know that I've lost some conditioning, and I'm gonna need um between now and well, I'm pretty solid. This year I've been pretty solid, but still not. I haven't been doing. I haven't been riding 7 days a week, 5 days a week. I've been doing 3 and 4 days a week. But I've only done 2 centuries this year. Whereas before in 2018, I don't even know how many centuries. I've done lots of centuries, and I rode, and I was doing Bear Mountain. Uh, I was doing Bear Mountain like every other week,
Mm.
over the summer. So I've only been to Bear Mountain once this
Mm.
year. So that's how I know. Like, I know that my conditioning, you know, is not what it was,
Yeah.
um, a few years ago. So once I build my conditioning up to the level that 2018, I'll be ready for the world, because not only would I have built my conditioning, um, I have a lot. I'm way more knowledgeable now than I was when I first began. I was ignorance on fire before. I was ignorance on fire before, and now I'm knowledge on ice.
Mm.
So so now I just want to, just next year I just want to be, knowledge on fire. And neither one of those things are bad, by the way. Ignorance on
Yeah.
fire or knowledge on ice. It's just, you just don't have both elements.
Mhm.
But this year, this is the start of this year is the year of change. I'm going to keep this up going into next year, even if I'm not even if I'm not cycling every single day, I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to keep it up because actually, actually, provided I make it through the whole winter, it'll be the first. It'll be the first time since 2018 that I've actually cycled through the entire uh, um, winter.
Mm-hmm.
I met some tragedies. I was
Mm-hmm.
I was hit by a car. And I was actually hit in traffic 5 times.
Mm.
And it's always, everything always happens the end of summer, and then I've had injuries on top of being hit, not that's not cycling related, that maybe I had an injury working out where because I boxed too.
Mm-hmm.
So I injured my shoulder. That's been a problem. That's been a problem with me, and I and and I and I and I injured my wrist, like the next year. So it's just like something is always like you
Mm-hmm.
know, preventing me. Some sort of injury thing. But this year is I plan to be the year of change. For because I plan on riding hella hot water.
Mm-hmm.
My plan is to make it through the entire winter from the beginning to start, is to make it through the winter.
Well, I believe you'll do
Yeah.
it. All right.
Yeah.
Last question before we wrap up. Can you one word that describes what cycling means to you?
Life.
Mm.
Cycling is life. It is life. I couldn't imagine not having cycling in my life. It is a cure for many things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really I'm coming, just to see, to just this experience. It is it's truly life.
Mm-hmm.
And something I can't live without, like air,
Yeah.
like water,
Mm.
like food, like these are things that things that you need, and I just couldn't imagine life without cycling. I need that in my life. So definitely.
Well, that is a great way to end this conversation. Cycling is life. This has been Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and this is episode 14. Any last words before we peace out?
Yeah, for anyone listening, if get get physically active. You know, you're not getting any younger. We live to die.
Mm.
And no matter how it happens, it is that's one thing that is for sure. We are going to meet our end, and you can and don't give them hell. Give them hell. Go out. Go out hard. Don't go out like a lion. Don't go out like a lamb. Be healthy. Be physically active. Eat to live. Do practice more eating to live as opposed to living to eat.
Mm.
Neither one is wrong, but eat to live. Practice more eating to live. you know, and that's it.
That's right. Get active.
Yep. Get active.
Thank you so much for being a guest on the Rolling with Tape podcast. And definitely want to have you back on. And yeah, we're out of here.